Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, Octa time, and let's get into the story. Today, we saw a crazy lot of action over the last week, and the question is why? Why did Bitcoin go so high? We'll try and answer that too. And are we seeing a little bit of Captain Supply Crunch? We'll answer that too. Maybe, maybe not. But either way, a lot of good stuff to cover. So thank you all for coming. And this is not financial advice, of course. And whoops, jumping ahead there. Shout out to Patreon. Big thank you to everybody on Patreon too. This is from Darren. He says, Patreon is my money well spent. Thank you, Darren, for being part of the crew. Let's get into the first big story of the day. And I put this in the ugly news because it's a bit sad. That's why. And I'm kind of hard to find ugly news. But 83% of Americans have no Bitcoin. And this is a 2025 survey. And I wish I had this for the entire planet, but I don't, just the US. But there's a couple of interesting findings here. First of all, as I mentioned, 83% have no Bitcoin. But most people have the majority. Those that do have it, 13.46% keep it on exchanges. That was my theory. Very few actually have it in cold storage, only 2.69%. And 4.62% have it in Bitcoin ETF format. So if you add 4.62 plus 13.46, call it 18 plus percent. Only a ninth of that basically has cold storage. So, as I say, when there's 2.1 million Bitcoin on exchanges, it doesn't mean it's for sale because a lot of the Americans have it sitting there because they don't trust cold storage. So this is why I really like this data, and it was good for me to see. Also, let's look at some unlocks. It was not too much happening last week, but this week, there are a lot of Arbitrum and Optimism, both at 2%. These guys are leaking out coins 2% every single week. ZK 2.4%. Ape is always aping out coins. And a thing called Trump coin, whatever that is, unlock of 45.35%. Short it, ladies and gentlemen. Not financial advice. But that will be one that'll cause a huge dump. Zero, another one, 23%, will also cause a huge dump. Eigen, Venom as well, Optimism, all about 2%. So that's the unlock news. We're going to go through this very fast. And in the third piece of ugly news, I remember when the Bitcoin ETFs came out, and we have a lot of people who use retirement accounts on a company called Vanguard. And we used to mock them, calling them Vanguarded, because they didn't allow people to have access to the Bitcoin ETFs. And they still won't offer Bitcoin to their clients. It's wild. Yet they have $9 billion worth of MicroStrategy. You know, that's just crazy. And they have every other garbage ETF on the planet. But no, they will not let customers have access to Bitcoin. So basically, if you do have a retirement account with Vanguard, move it, put it anywhere. Fidelity, Robinhood, Schwab, I don't care. Get out away from that company. Not financial advice too. Let's get into the bad news. For the sell in May go away crowd, I remember this. It was like, oh, you said don't sell in May. You're an idiot. I got a lot of that because at the beginning of June, the Bitcoin price did dump a little bit. But now, if you did sell in May, you would have left 23% on the table. So that was for the sell in May crowd, everybody. There you go. It was just so funny. The people were so mad. So mad. And there's the answer. And in other news too, a little bit of bad news. Inflation is higher than expected. From Watcher Guru, inflation rose to 2.7%. Again, doesn't matter if it's 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.9, 3.6. The way it's measured is ridiculous. So the way people even look at this is nonsensical. Now, time for the good news. Let's look at fear and greed. Greed is still full on, ladies and gentlemen. We're up at 72, fear and greed. Not extreme greed yet, but still way up there, which is extremely exciting to see. In addition, we have Bitcoin season spiked to 35. We were languishing under 25 for pretty much the most of 2025. Excuse the alliteration there. But for the first time, we are at an all-time high since Feb 2025. And that is alts are outperforming. What that looks like is this. Bitcoin is up there. gaining about 35% over the last 30 days. Really good, but a lot of other things have gained even more. Hype up 190%. A thing called Pengu. I remember Ivan on Tech used to talk about Pengu. Well, that thing just shot up 600%, whatever that is. And the third biggest performer is Bonk. It still amazes me that crypto is kind of a serious space, but still it's full of stupidity and meme coins, and the stuff that does all the heavy lifting rarely gets recognition. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute too. Actually, we'll get to it right now. Let's look at what happened over the last week. Crypto, and I forgot to mention as well, by the way, a big thank you to the mods in the chat, and Sir Winston, and Dr. Drepper, and Zeno, my friend. How are you? Thank you all for coming. I'm in a rush. I got to rush to a little meeting after this, so excuse that. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Now, what did I say? Bitcoin. Okay, everything compared to Bitcoin. You see two things here that are dark green, which means they far outperform Bitcoin. They are XRP and Cardano. We'll get to those in a second. It's a complete mystery. And over the last 7 days, Bitcoin up 7.7%. It was up about 13% at one stage because it shot to 123,800, and it's mean reverting. That's what happens. Things get overbought to the upside and then fall down to the downside too. That's where we are. Other stuff kind of flat, but it's been a really good last 7 days. If you asked me 7 days ago, would Bitcoin have hit nearly 124,000? I would have said no. And if you've been watching this channel since 2023, you'll remember that early 2023, my target, Bitcoin target for 2025, bull market top, sandbagged, was 119,000. So check that box. Good to go. And the videos are always there. Now, let's look at some crazy news too. This is fully diluted market cap per user from the SCP Profiler. The winner is XRP at nearly $9 million per user. That's not a number to be proud of. You want this number to be very low, not extremely high. Does each user on XRP generate $9 million of value? The answer is, of course it doesn't, and it never will, ever. It's ridiculous, the valuation. So when you see things like this, you ask yourself, what the hell is going on? Completely logical. This is like the silly season of crypto. But let's look at some of these other numbers too. Number 2 in the box, Polkadot, which is a dead chain, $1.714 million of market cap per user. Number 3 in the box, Cardano, $1.21 million of market cap per user, and nobody uses it. Nobody uses it. ETH, number 4, $815,561 per user. And everything else, if you want to be reasonable down there, you want to have at least no more than 20 grand per user. Anyway, that's just data. What do you know? Let's look at other metrics too. Crypto Dex volumes. So we're jumping right into crypto here. Number 1 on the list. And this chart has shaken up a little bit. It's always kind of Solana, Hyperliquid, kind of jostling back and forth. But Solana, $2.8 billion in Dex volume. That is today or yesterday? Yesterday. And Hyperliquid, 538 million. Number 2, Hyperliquid does nearly 3 times what Ethereum does. And Aptos jumped ahead of Ethereum as well for the first time. And we have Ripple down there doing $1,000 in Dex volume. ICP, $1 million. Algorand, $4 million. Cardano, $4 million. And of course, Solana, $3 billion. It's not even funny at this stage. So I'll just keep reporting the data and you guys make what you want of it. Let's look at money flow. This is also big. We have record-breaking momentum, ladies and gentlemen. Weekly inflows hit 3.7 billion. That's the second largest ever on record. Okay. And the AUM in these Bitcoin ETFs and crypto ETFs is $211 billion. That is massive. The money flowing in is nuts. And I'm going to spend some time on the money flowing into the ETFs and the treasury companies, because that is the Bitcoin narrative this time around. Now, there is some surprising move, despite the big move that I said before, but a couple of things to point out here. Bitcoin pulled in $2.731 billion. Total AUM, $179.5 billion For the first time, this equals 54% of the total AUM held in gold ETPs that have been around for 20 years. Short Bitcoin, nothing really happening there. But Solana pulled in $92.6 million. XRP drained $104 million. Maybe people are beginning to see or look at fundamentals, but I'm not sure. But XRP did experience the largest weekly outflow ever, and Solana had the largest weekly inflow ever, which is good. And Ethereum posted a 12th consecutive week of inflow. Ethereum has been sucking in a lot of dollars. Good for them and good for the whole space. Because you know what? Per my metrics, just to be clear, everybody, when the total crypto market cap goes up, it floats all boats because your asset will be a certain percentage of the total CMC. So if the total CMC goes from 3 trillion to 5 trillion or 10 trillion, we're all making money. So we're all happy. Hope that's very clear. Now, there's some other crazy news too. And this was not on my bingo card for 2025, I should say. But this is huge. Okay, this is huge because it's a collaboration of a whole bunch of chains together doing two things that are very interesting. Okay, this is the Kamino news. Kamino is a Solana-based protocol. It has integrated X stocks, and it's powered by Chainlink data streams. And this, what they're doing now, is not only empowering the ability to buy and sell tokenized stocks first, but now they will let you borrow against your tokenized stocks. Your tokenized stocks become collateral. And they are now bridging traditional finance, TradFi, and decentralized finance. And if I was TradFi, I would be very afraid. So Kamino allows users to borrow things like stable coins against your tokenized stocks and do whatever the hell you want with it. Maybe perp it somewhere else, or I don't know what. It's crazy. And they run, I think, about 100 different equities right now. Even Circle I saw is recently on there. NVIDIA, Tesla, MicroStrategy, all the good stuff that you need is now tokenized. And now you can buy your tokenized equity on chain and borrow against it. Become a complete degen, get some USDC and bet it somewhere else. It's wow. It's amazing. It's amazing. And we're still so early. This is only a few weeks old. And it's crazy. The innovation and development is crazy. Anyway, back to the ETFs. Bitcoin spot ETFs are at an all-time high, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little bit of weakness during Q1 because people were afraid with the tariff trumps, but boy, since then it's been on fire. And here, another view from James Check on Chain. ETFs remain extremely robust. You can see back in March 2024, that pink stuff, they're not good, but we haven't had pretty much no pink stuff at all most of this year, which is crazy. Actually, not for a long time, not since, I haven't had heavy pink since, what would that be? Sometime May 2024. The money is just coming in, and IBIT represents 63% of it too. Again, I can't stress this enough. And it was great to have Søren Basher on DCA yesterday. People said it was the best show ever. And we touched on some very interesting topics. But he said now, after 18 months of these ETFs being in place, RIAs, which are registered investment advisors, are now telling their clients, after getting comfortable for a year and a half, said this isn't a scam, time to allocate. That's the money you're seeing going in here now, ladies and gentlemen, which is huge, very big. And in terms of Bitcoin scarcity, part 67, this from Cole, I thought this was pretty cool. NVIDIA, coincidentally, had $4.2 trillion today, is worth 35,830,000 Bitcoins. Little problem with that number, there'll never be more than 15 million Bitcoins. So the market cap of NVIDIA is many multiples now of what you could buy in terms of Bitcoin. That's crazy. That's how small Bitcoin is. That's how early we still are. There's a whole list of them too. I won't read them all out, but Apple's there too. 26 million Bitcoin. That's how big these companies are. And that's how big the asset we're in is going to get too. Let's look a little bit more at ETF Q2 inflows. A couple of things to show here is one, Q1 was weak. 16,000 Bitcoin flew out, but 107,000 Bitcoin flew in. But that's not the only part of the story too. As I've been saying for a long time, treasuries are it. I said that in 2024. Treasuries are going to be the driver of the action in 2025. And here we are. Treasuries keep on growing. The number of companies has doubled in 2025, went from 70 to 134. And we're only halfway through the year. And they're doing it in 29 different countries, or 27 different countries, something like that anyway, all over the place. And these treasuries have stacked 244,991 Bitcoin in 6 months. Just treasuries. And add in the ETFs, crazy. And that is perhaps why we went from 100,000 to 123,800 in literally about 10 days. Maybe we're beginning to see the first sign that it's hard to get your hands on big bags of Bitcoin. If more treasuries come in, and heaven forbid, like a Microsoft or a Meta or Tesla or somebody tries to deploy a whole bunch of money into Bitcoin, it will drive the price bonkers. Mark my words. And we did have record liquidations because that spike was not expected. Shorts got absolutely wrecked on that spike. Again, record liquidations we have not seen. It's nearly double the damage we saw back in November 2022 with the FTX fallout. Absolutely insane. And the other question that people have is, will the air pocket fill? We have another one here below us. Again, shout out to James Check. This is when the price moves so fast that nobody can get a chance to even buy. That air pocket's between $111,000 and $117,000 Bitcoin price. And sometimes we don't necessarily have to fill that air pocket, but sometimes it does become a magnet for the price action. So looking at the Bitcoin price right now, we are 117.3. Woohoo! Very important. Very important we stay above 117. Okay, put in a little bit of floor there, can be 116. Got to stay above 117. Then we can ignore the air pocket. And we need the ETFs and the treasuries and the sailors of the world to keep on stacking. Shout out to Metaplan too. They've been stacking like wild as well. And the NAV premium is now under control too. Anyway, let's look at stocks real quick. Whoa, NVIDIA up 7.14%. That thing is on fire. As I posted last night, almost live on Patreon, the Chinese market's now open again for business for their H2O version of their kind of scale back GPU for the Chinese market. And that's going to really drive revenue. So another new all-time high. And by the way, don't forget, that puppy was on sale for $88 in April. What a gift April was. Very grateful for April. Tesla up 4.64% for the week. People think it's dead, but no. Robotaxis are scaling. We'll touch briefly on robotaxis, but in general, for the whole market. Stock fear and greed is 76, which is almost in line with the crypto fear and greed. Those two have been tracking each other. And the big banksters. By the way, it's bankster earnings season, but the banksters are now coming for stablecoins. We heard about JP Morgan coming, and now Citigroup is exploring issuing a stablecoin, and then we'll have Wells Fargo and Bank of America and all the big banks. They'll all have stablecoins because it's embrace or die at this stage. There's no way around that. And back to NVIDIA, hitting 4.2 trillion today. Market cap, bonkers. That is far bigger than the entire GDP of the UK, the GDP of France, the GDP of Germany, the GDP of most countries in the world. Crazy how big one company is. That's why I've been hammering you all on AI since 2022 because of this. Okay. Crazy. Now, speaking of AI, robotaxis, these are cars that drive themselves, robots on wheels. This is a forecast. Shout out to Sanjay too from CNEV Post. It's a, Chinese publication. And they published Trend Forces analysis that the robotaxi market sizes will grow. Will grow, everybody. 1,000x over the next 10 years. Probably a lot sooner, if you ask me, to be honest. But for them to, and this publication to come out and say that 1,000x is extremely bullish. The question is, which firm will win the game? That is, those that can manufacture the best and that have the best FSD. I wonder who that could be. And I'm grateful every day that the Tesla price stays low. People are like, oh my God, it's only $315. That's actually a great thing, everybody, because we know what's coming. We just need to be patient. The last thing we want is a $500 Tesla price. You know, when people are really pricing what's coming in, that's no good. We get it half off. That's great. That's really good. And speaking of robotaxis as well, I used to always talk about a dog with fleas partnering with a dog with fleas, but BIDU is not exactly that. BIDU are like the Google of China, and they do have a robotaxi capability, and they will be partnering with Uber to deploy thousands of robotaxis globally. Again, this is transport as a service. This is going to be huge. This is going to 1,000x. Get exposure. I don't care what you buy. If you like Chinese stocks, buy BIDU. Uber, I don't know if that's going to make it. But anyway, moving on. We'll see what happens next. Apple, another company that completely let AI run them by, and they didn't get their EV done or their automatic car or whatever. Anyway, they did just invest $500 million in the same rare earth mine that the Pentagon also backed. By the way, if anybody has access to a rare earth mine that has stuff that makes things like magnets, let me know. We should buy them all. They are strategically important. And I'm so glad that the Pentagon is aware of this. And I'm so glad that Apple is aware of this. We need these things, and we need to mine for them. And we need to get the infra in place to make sure that doesn't happen. Again, $500 million. I think the company's called MP Materials. But remember, magnets are used in everything from fighter jets to AirPods. Okay. They all have the same ingredients. Little tiny magnets. Okay. Magnets. I used to play with them as a kid. They were fun. And play with the plus and minus. And sad news for our friends in the Netherlands. Netherlands have had to ration electricity to ease power grid stress because I think it's hot and heat wave and blah, 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 whatever else. But the way I interpret this is the Netherlands ain't getting no AI if they don't have no power to run no air conditioning. Okay, I sound like I'm from the South when I say that, where it's hot. That is bad. That is bad. The world needs more power. I spent years dealing with FUD about, oh, Bitcoin mining is going to boil the ocean. And, oh, you'll never be able to charge your Tesla because the grid won't support it. AI is going to suck up 1,000 times more energy than Bitcoin mining and charging cars and stuff. Oh, power is everything, everybody. Power, battery storage, solar power, grids, utilities, and rare earths. Play where the buck is going to be, ladies and gentlemen. And since the theme today was a little bit of crunch, I want to show this cool little graphic. Shout out to Cambo Crypto, who created this today. Supply crunch, the latest and greatest cereal, full of artificial colors and GMO grains. Kidding, it's pure Bitcoin. And the supply crunch could be coming. Not saying it is coming, but I'm getting a sense we could really kick off. This could be a special bull run, and it's not over. Q4 is where all the action happens. All these videos are turned into Substacks. Thank you to the team behind that, chatting with you earlier today, and I hope you like the content. Subscribe. Thanks once again to the mods, KA, TND, Tesla, Shawnee, and the whole gang. Really appreciate you as well, and Sir Winston, Dr. Drepper, Zeno, LC Blink, DBF 430, Strider, Soul Strider. 2 Striders in one day. Never saw that before. And 836-7212 and Danska 7 Snagadansk. Thank you all. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.